Number Equitable Mental Health District Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Mission and vision. Aaron, would you like to say the mission and vision?
Or TPMD mission statement to provide a welcoming public aquatic facility with a fiscally responsible focus on educating all ages on aquatic skills and water safety. We carry out this mission with a board and staff who are passionate, inclusive, responsive to the needs of our diverse community, working to foster positive and lifelong experiences of aquatic environments. TPMD mission statement is contributing to the quality of life for our community and for future generations through welcoming fun, safe, and positive aquatic experiences at the village.
I'd like to stand. Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with roll call on my far left.
Oh, Commissioner Dingle present.
Commissioner Frangella Anderson present.
Commissioner Song. Commissioner Schiffman present.
And Commissioner Zaptel present, and we're joined by our Executive Director, Corbin, and our Corbin Manager and Association Bureau. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Commissioner Schiffman seconds.
Is there any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye. All those opposed? And so this thing comes to is our Stacey, would you like to talk about Oliver?
Sure. Yes, Oliver is our employee of the month. Oliver has just been doing such a great job all summer. He's the guy who's picking up every shift that was available that he could. So he has just been super solid in our procedures, our cleaning, our in-services, our trainings. So he's been on top of it. So we just appreciate him spending the summer with us and really being present at the Tuckville pool this summer.
And after school.
And now after
That's
school,
adopting a serious summer, is he continuing with that?
he wasn't typically with us after school, but now he's starting to pick up more time after school.
Is he with the foster?
No,
Yeah.
That's, again, this is a young person who makes a pretty good commitment to working with us. This is someone who gets out of school and tries to make the ferry on time and get back to us.
You're kidding.
Who's at work tonight. Again, phenomenal young man, and again, love his commitment to who we are, how we serve. He's been with us now.
Jessica taught him back in the day,
Yeah,
so he's
so-
been with
Did he originally live here, or how did he find out about it?
his mom is
Yeah,
originally here, yeah.
Oh.
in Tuckville. Mhm.
so great individual, and phenomenal, and super happy team.
Yeah.
It's always nice to hear about people, sort of anecdotes. It's very fun. Thank you. Thank you, Albert. Citizen comments. I know we had some that came in with the Google reviews and some email that came in. I did say I was appreciative of the communications that I received about the changing the schedule from the staff. We appreciate seeing those. Is there any discussion?
Very lengthy. But no immediate comments. It's just with our scheduling changes, whether it be through email or anecdotally, I think people just had a hard time really adjusting. And so, we just need to figure out how to make sure that whatever the changes are now and or the future, being put in front of their face, outside of the newsletter, outside of the button that they have to click, outside, it's just gotta be like rarely there, so people really understand before they make their way to the pool. So there's a lot of good communication before, but also after, and I appreciate it.
Was there anything posted at the pool?
Front desk, the newsletter went out a couple times, folks scheduling changes, but there was, from an operational standpoint, I will share, there was a difference in how we communicated prior years versus this year, and that is the feedback I shared with the operations prior years, we would spell out in the newsletter the biggest changes taking place, right? So it's not that you're clicking a button to look at the schedule, it's here are the two biggest things you should be aware of when looking at the schedule. And that wasn't the same level of communication that went out this year.
Hmm.
I think that was probably the biggest thing I noticed when I received feedback, but those were all addressed. And then immediately followed up with emails, sharing those major changes. So we really only heard from probably 2 or 3 people, and it was mainly the lunch folks.
Right, because their time was gone out, right?
Exactly, but only 2 days a week versus 3 days. There's still 3 days of opportunity. So
Oh,
swing until 2 p.m. So we're only closing early 2 days a week. It was interesting to hear the feedback, and who it directly affected. So it will be interesting to see what else comes of this. So far, it's time necessary for operation stuff, like fuel, clean water, chemistry, all of it, so.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say about that. Maybe saw the stuff online, so I was like, yeah, I knew that it was coming. Maybe because I'm on the board, I don't really know what's But, so the one thing that was, I think that was the first Tuesday though, is that when the days are, it's for the pool closure days, Tuesday, Thursdays?
Oh, for the, yeah.
Yeah, the early.
So it was, so there was the big sign you guys put in the windows, pool closed. And, that was, and so, but that came out like directly after the pool being closed, was like Sunday, Monday. Is that right? For the cloudiness in the pool?
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah.
the pool closure.
Right, so like, so
God,
my confusion, unless I went through like really ran on the stuff, because Babe was like, it's closed still, and I was like, what do you mean it's still closed? Like, it's, I'm pretty sure it's open. Oh, it is closed, and then I'm like, no, Brent says it's, so like, we were in a position that the pool was still closed from filtration chemical problem that was going on with it being too cloudy from the 2 days previous. So it's a better way to kind of like, the sign that doesn't say like, we're closed, because I felt like it was like closed when I read it.
That's good to hear.
When I first walked in. I was
Usually
like,
about the same.
no, there's no way we're closed.
that's good to know, right?
Anyways, if somebody didn't take the time to read my child. They would have said, so you guys are like, we're closed.
Have you been in recently?
This morning.
Okay, there's water quality,
Good.
tremendously clear.
I'm not gonna say.
I mean, it was pretty clear the next day, or
Oh, yeah, I took a picture this morning because I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is like a glass of water. Sorry, we can keep going, but yeah, feedback, thank you for the feedback, and yes, I think that internally. We need to look at how communication was posted a year ago, for example, and it's a constant reminder for the ops team when they're posting signage. To make sure that we're communicating at that same level, because we didn't get this level of feedback last year that we did.
well, and one of the letters was really interesting. Did the guy come in with his girls on a Sunday or was it a Saturday? It must have been Saturday if there was swim lessons. 9-2?
That was on a weekday.
Oh, that was Tuesday.
It was, this year was a little bit challenging because we had an extra week of morning lessons into the, school year essentially. So versus previous years where it ended at the end of August, so it bled over into the first week of, regular scheduling, and that was what was missed on the communication as well.
Well, I was just kind of interested in reading, you know, like, I mean, according to, you know, I'm just hearing this guy's point of view, not what the lifeguard felt, but, you know, when he asked him to tighten the rope, you know, that didn't, you know, I mean, it's like, that seems like that could be pretty easy to do and help people out and, you know, because it's not a huge shallow end, but.
Correct.
I think this just speaks again to the need for expansion.
Well, yes and no, right? I think the bigger message there, because I talked to this family on the phone, we had a pretty blessed conversation around this experience. Because this was their first negative experience with the couple. And the parent is right. I message to the ops team was, this is not who we. So we need to evaluate who you schedule, how you schedule, and you need to continue to look at training, customer service perspective. And it's not just about cleanliness and communication, it's also about doing. We are a service-based organization, we're a human-based organization. Our job is to serve within reason, right? As long as it doesn't compromise safety, it's not taking the lifeguard's distraction away, and if there's another lifeguard, they can help. And I think what we experienced in my personal preference and on a recording, I think we're just dealing with two lazy people that probably did not care to do anything other than guard. And so that's a discussion we'll have internally and continue to provide some context to that in service. Just to remind our team, this is who we are and we continue to serve at a high end. So.
It's really, I mean, for somebody to take the time and write as detailed of a letter that he did and then talk to you, that, I mean, what a great service he is doing for us to be able to then give that feedback to the staff, because most people, if they have a bad experience, they leave.
Yeah, exactly. You don't hear from them, and that's the biggest piece is we appreciate the feedback when we can get it, because I think that's really how we know how we're doing, right? We like to know how we're truly doing and hearing it just to fix it. So.
All right, if there's no more discussion on this comment, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Commissioner Shaw seconds the motion.
Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No. Okay, moving on to reports, and we'll start with the executive director.
Only outside of questions, the only thing I wanted to remind everybody of, and this is a change versus what's printed. An update to our upcoming pool closure for the pump 5 was scheduled for the 10th with a secondary day closure for just a buffer in case things don't go well. It has now been moved to the 11th and 12th. And as soon as new communication will go out, but Orca Pacific has indicated that is the game plan. So we will be open on the 10th. We will also be open the morning of the 11th through lap swim. And then we will close promptly at 8:45 a.m. so Orca can come in and start turning systems off, placing a pump.
And that's Thursday and Friday, correct?
Correct.
This week.
Friday, we will most likely be open, but again, we're gonna communicate as tentative, just so no one's caught off. But that is the biggest update from my office and one of the districts. Yeah. Questions?
Well, I have a question, but I don't know if it's really for you. It's probably more operation based, but I understand there was some sort of event at the high school on Saturday. How did that affect?
There was, when I drove by, there was an event on Saturday and Sunday. It was the football games. When I drove by, it was really, really packed. Like people were parked in like the fire lanes.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, yeah, cause I like drove by to go home and so I saw how packed it was. Yeah, it took place on both weekend days. I don't know how much of an impact there was to the morning, but I do know the afternoon, like in the evening, we were like, there was no space, I could tell.
They started to fill up when I was leaving at 7:38.
Yeah, nobody had mentioned anything about not being able to attend lessons or.
Well, it wasn't, the football game wasn't, Foster, it was. open.
Yeah, it was some rental.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Di said it was horrendous. She walked to the pool to get her information and she said people were illegally parked everywhere.
So. Oh, it's just
Yeah.
part of the.
Yeah, no, I
So
know.
that's gonna be great, because I think the sooner we get access to that, the sooner we can reinforce that there's some potential overflow parking. But yeah, we'll move on. Thank you for that. I didn't, that's good to know.
So operations. Stacey, would you like to?
Yeah, nothing from the updates, but the additional materials that I had sent a little bit late. It's also included as a separate sheet. I just wanted to make a formal acknowledgement, to our Summer Splash League volunteers, swimmers, staff, parents, everyone, just supported the team incredibly. And this year we had the largest turnout, which was 40 individual swimmers in each month. So, you can count total, but 40 individual. So it was a huge year for us, in that sense. And we had a lot of parent participation, parent support. So we were just really happy to see everybody come out, as well as all of our, some of our commissioners and volunteers that came out to support. So thank you, everybody. And then our staff have been doing an incredible job of learning the ropes and, taking on that aspect of coaching. Double duty.
It's exciting.
Great.
So is
Good
Ellen
job.
gonna get her future Olympian?
Anastasia
Right.
did such a great job of growing that program. It's
No, thank
really
you.
exciting. So when is sign up for Mako in the fall?
It already started. We are registered at about now 27. So, filling up a little bit. We did see, interestingly, a lot of SMAC swimmers, word of mouth from other organizations, coming to us in the fall. So a lot of like Olympic View, those that are just summer pools, a lot of word of mouth is what I'm getting from my email communication. Just like, we heard from this person, we want to try out. SMAC for the month of August, a lot of people saw us as an alternative, because SMAC doesn't swim in August. So it was good to see some of our kids returning, but also some newer faces, from, again, parents talk in the bleachers and so on and so forth. So it was really good to see that growth. So yeah, we've never really had that many kids at once, so it was a lot. I want to say more than 50% is our own kids in our own programs. So, we are really happy to see that kids are starting to filter through our programs, and it's fed by. Yeah,
That's great.
we're excited.
Well, I want to thank you for making sure. I mean, recognize the efforts of the efforts of our district to foster and grow our own teams, but most importantly, give this opportunity to our community, because that's, not something they would necessarily get at table. So that's really part of what we do and who we are. I did volunteer for a meet, and it was inspiring to see how much this TPMPD team has grown, and the experience I see with them, and just to watch the joy in all those kids' faces, the parents and their teammates cheering for them. And that's a privilege. That's what really struck me, is this was a team, and just even that, that little boy who forgot or didn't know that he was supposed to be at his particular heat, all this team rallying around to come find him in the bleachers and find him, and our team reflects our community so well, and it was very obvious and evident. So, but a huge thank you also to the volunteers, making these meets happen, and the efforts, like the concessions that they were doing this year. I mean, it really took off to another level this year, what I saw. But thank you to the district for doing this, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's a team effort. So we just want to appreciate everyone that took part in it.
And you had like a team event at the end of the season, right?
Yeah, just like a fun day. They all wanted to just swim relays. We didn't get to swim the coaches relay, so we did the coaches relay at the end of season banquet. So parents were like, "We're happy to see you in the water," and I was like, "Thank you." Yeah, to embarrass myself. 40 kids. So yeah, it was fun. Yeah, thank you, everybody, for your support.
Is there any other questions on operations programming?
My only question, Anastasia knows this, I'm just curious, like, next steps for competitive arm to.
Oh, wow, put me on the spot like that.
You don't have to answer it tonight, I just throw it out there.
I guess there is, well, we can rest on that question. There is one more thing, just wanted to put it out there. Pumpkin Plunge is on Saturday, October 25th. So I'll send some communication out, but I just wanted to put that out there during our meeting here tonight.
So it's always a fun one. Yes, Jerry. Yeah, sure, already.
No, you skipped over tea pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Okay.
because
I have this tea pack. So we met on August 16th and, a very robust group and a good conversation, and input regarding the strategic goals. And, they're gonna be working on their TPAC pilots, I think in the next 3 months, for each meeting, and, I believe all the members are working on that together with them, amongst themselves. That was basically about the end of the, basically all around the strategic goals and the bylaws. The next meeting is on the 20th. Saturday, the 20th, and I will not be able to attend, but Andrew will be taking my place.
And that'll be a focus on the budget, right?
They will be given the budget to review the draft.
Awesome. Thank you for feedback. Is there any other discussion on people? Hey, no, Jerry.
Finance, we're looking at strictly about doing the 2026 draft budget. We had 2 special meetings. One was in regards to the approval for the Kidder property appraisal services. The regular finance meeting is still reviewing and going over 2026 budget, refining lines. We had a final draft meeting on Friday to be able to present the draft budget for 2026 to TPAC for any kind of input. There's been a lot of good input, a lot of good things looking at it going forward. So I'm very pleased with how that's all coming together and on schedule.
Yeah, well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for,
being here.
I know that's been a lot.
Oh, and the next finance meeting is the 20,
So really,
yeah, September 29th.
Yeah.
And it's back at 5 o'clock. End of.
Aaron, did I see you like to say something? Okay. Okay, any other comments, discussion on finance committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to feasibility. And, which is me. So I'm just gonna give a little bit more context, because I know that we've been doing a lot of feasibility, and I want to really make sure that the commissioners are to speed on what's going on in their meetings, what's coming up in their meetings. So, first thing I was gonna mention is SFC. We had a meeting, Jerry was there and Brett was there, and they went through what was gonna be in their preliminary draft to us. So it was a good conversation. And I know we've said this before, but working with them is very collaborative. We ask them questions, or we ask, oh, would it be great to see this? And their response is, oh, we can get you that next week. So we'll see that as far as that part of it, that's been, that's been very. But we went through it, and specifically what the focus of that meeting was, it was on the financial pro forma piece, and that's that 20-year performance potential. It really drilling down into actual costs, and once again, as we mentioned before, the benefit of this company is that they operate. Not only they do it from from design to looking for new feasibility. So they are. It was very, it's been interesting. Right now, the committee is just reviewing it offline and asking immediate questions, but we'll be having a formal discussion at our September SSC meeting, which is on September 23rd. Thank you guys for keeping me on track. It's a week later to facilitate that is a going to floor the conference. So, so that's SFC. Location, as you mentioned, as you heard mentioned, Kidder Matthews was retained as for appraisal of the land we currently sit on. So the school district land, so that we get that information, and we'll get more information to you as that progresses. But hopefully the intention is for that to be completed before the end of September. So as far as timelines go, just so you guys are all up to speed on that. So fine, SAO. Thank you for the district for doing so much work on that, and that's on track for completion this So lots, yeah, fingers crossed.
It's our first one.
Yeah.
And so it's,
Variety.
yeah, so they're asking, it's a lot, and so
Yeah.
they're constantly coming back with questions and replying questions, and so it'll be interesting to see how this report comes out.
And also Jerry for being a commissioner, you know, appointed to that. So it's, yeah, it's important for us to do, and it's great. And once again, just a quick reminder, we're doing it. What initiated it was as we can. This financial audit. So yeah, it's just been a good learning experience. And this is always the hardest one. This is the first one. It's 3 years. And so far, so, you know, interesting, but a lot of work. So I really thank everyone for, you know, the work that this is being taken. And then, so the next thing I want to talk about was the Seattle Parks and Foundation. And so if you remember, this is that nonprofit, that foundation that is a 501c3, whereby we can leverage 501c3 only donations. So we have a meeting, Jerry and I had a meeting with them last week, and they brought to that meeting the consultant that they would assign to the DPMPD. That consultant had experience with public and private partnerships, state and county grants, as well as traditional 501c3 type donations with foundations. They were familiar with even the Harnish Foundation, which is one that we had talked about at SSSC, who is an NC. They're local here. So it was nice to hear that they were already familiar and they actually knew that they were going to be opening grants again. That, you know, so it was helpful to talk to the person who would be potentially working with us. And they had already reviewed our grant application. They knew about King County. They had reviewed our previous feasibility study, our website, and they actually were quite complimentary that we were well positioned and prepared for a capital campaign. So that was helpful. You know, we were still working out exactly what that looks like. But, you know, they're talking about, you know, they do the grant writing, providing the collateral. We're right now filling out the official application with SPF, sorry, which is a little bit more robust of an application than what we had thought, which is good. Yeah, but we're able to incorporate a lot of information about our project from the grant application. So we've got consistent messaging, which is helpful. So that'll be Brad's, let's start working on that. And thank you for that. But it's, yeah, it was interesting. So the next steps are, you know, doing that official application, getting some more information, but for the 6 month, yeah, it's called the camping study where the assigned person would go and really dig into so that we have professional, good looking product to farm out to the different, you know, potential donors. And, you know, so that was, speaking for us, we were pleased with that layout. That was in our comfort zone. Brad, can you help?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest piece to this 3 to 6 month ramp up, and I think is what was missing is the collateral, the case. We need someone to help us build that case study, right? That as to why we're going to the table, what we're looking for, and these folks seem to be very much able to help us build out the case study, what we're bringing to the table, how we present. They're also able to provide us the coaching services before we go to the table when meeting with stakeholders. So if you're meeting with a critical stakeholder, you might want to meet with a consultant who will help us guide and steward that conversation in the direction that we're hoping for with that outcome. Or so they're also able to knock on some doors, make some introductions, and the list goes on. So it seems like it would be a very collaborative effort, very much in line with what we're looking for regarding our feasibility study future project.
Finding that bandwidth that we need, and also just before I throw it to Jerry, because I want to ask her to weigh in too. But one thing that we actually during our city conversation was Pete Mayer, we brought up to the city because the city, that's where I originally had seen it in the Mercer brochure. And they have haven't done a capital campaign with them, but Pete Mayer, who, as we know, was Tacoma Parks and is pretty knowledgeable. He made a comment that they're very well respected. You know, gave us some positive feedback because we're limited to our, you know, interaction. So that is helpful too. Jerry, did you want to weigh in anything on that meeting with Seattle Parks that we might have missed?
No, you covered it. No. No, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to take in a short amount of time. And I think that the gal that we talked with, I was very impressed. She has a very swimming background.
Thank you.
The
Yes.
kids were on swim club and swim meets and all of that stuff. So she's very familiar. And the way she did her research about us and what she said, I thought was very complimentary. So I was very impressed.
Yes, Commissioner Gangler.
I have a question. So I know that one of the questions that came up was they wanted to know who we know that might be potentially interested, which is great because they also stressed, according to what you said, that the relationships are really ours, not, you know, it's not. But my question is, so when you go and knock on people's doors, are they with you or are they not? Or does it just depend or?
So my understanding was they work with us, that they provide the talking points and that they get us ready for it as the face of it. So that's interesting because Brad's looking at me like he may hear it that way. So that's,
Because after the meeting, I think.
I didn't hear it that way.
okay.
We were both a little,
It's something we will follow up with.
yeah, I think and it's a great question, right?
The
Because.
details. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, clearly they are professionals at doing this. It's great service. It's perfect because it works so well because we're so small and they can do this. It's like contracting out, but we'll own the relationships too. But I would think that they also have relationships that, you know, that they can introduce us to.
Yes, and that was definitely part of it, that they have, you know, it's not limited to who we know.
Okay.
It was just, do you know anyone? Let's add that to the list.
Did you put Pigali in that?
Yes.
Vanessa was definitely there.
Yeah, more details, but I just wanted to kind of update you guys because it's potentially a big deal. So,
Vanessa, is part of their, or Jerry or Brad, is part of what they offer, you know, with the fundraising, do they do like, sponsorship sales of like building names or anything like that, or is that not part of what they do?
In the sense of naming rights?
Yeah, like, because I'm kind of thinking like, what does it all include? Because I would think that, you know, I mean, clearly one of the benefits of Tukwila is that South Center. And they might want to have, you know, Westfield, whatever, lap pool or whatever.
Yep.
And, you know, I just don't know if they talk about that or if they're just after, you know, just funds without any strings.
It's a great question, because it did come up in conversation. I think we painted one of my bigger examples is one we've been talking about for years, right? So in a perfect scanner, this would be
Yeah.
the Alaska Airlines warm water, right, whatever. And they completely understand that and they definitely within their wheelhouse and they latched onto that as a, oh yeah, like that's an incredible opportunity and they are outside their small community grants, there is potential another avenue. So they were very excited based on what we shared as a team, as well as what their knowledge is for what this could be, especially where we're situated. Centrally located and the diverse community aspect of, so they resonate with the project we're trying to accomplish. We're not just an aquatics facility in Norway Park. Just wants to build a pool. I think they resonate specifically with the fact that we are trying to serve a population that with water safety programs and access to aquatics just would not thrive the same way Seattle first would. But yeah, super exciting.
and this consultant had a team of people, that 4 or 5 people, they're not full-time employees with them, but that they work too. So it's not a single person situation. So I just thought it was important to give you a little bit more information other than, you know, this is the report.
So Vanessa, on your report, under goals and tasks, under B3, A one.
A1, yes.
I'm confused. So the last two sentences, sent to the TSD Chief Financial Officer 9/10/24,
A year ago.
presented to TSD Board 11/26/25, which hasn't even come yet.
I'm sorry, thank you, because I made a mistake. Apparently I was updating without incorrectly. Thank you. So that should be 24.
Okay.
Yes, that would be a problem and a timeline. Are there any questions on the Seattle Parks Foundation before I quickly jump to the other grants? Okay, so grant, no update yet. We're still waiting for approval from the King County Council. It's just not, it's not an issue or anything. So comprehensive plan, the pre-preliminary draft is being reviewed by FSFC, our committee, incorporates some suggestions from TPAC and commissioners on preference of style. When send out different examples of comp plans and some things, important information that they want in it, that they don't want in it, or that's on track to be presented for discussion at the September SFC meeting. So that's another thing that we're doing at that meeting is the first go around, and I know the comp plan timeline is later in here, but just enough. Talk about that, this meeting coming up. 30% design and owner's rep. I know we did a lot of talk about getting a 30% design this year. So after a good discussion, we realized that we need some help with that and that it makes more sense to focus on getting an owner's rep on board to help us draft that 30% design. We don't want to make mistakes there. And so we need to get a professional. We've always intended to bring an owner's rep in. So bringing them in earlier makes more sense for our skill set and bandwidth, more to the point. So that's why that's a little bit of a shift. We're hoping for fourth quarter to get a scope of work for an owner's rep kind of done. So that's going to be on our, so is that accurately representing it, Brad?
Yes, I think we're getting into an area that we're not the experts.
Yeah.
Right, and our experience with the feasibility study, we all have pain points, and I think moving in a direction where we need to bring someone in with that knowledge, that construction design, or how to work through certain contracts that we just aren't familiar with is gonna be critical to our success. So that there's one time versus us trying to get through it 3 to 4 different.
And then Rex comes in and says, oh, I would have done it differently. So it's better to bring those people in earlier. So that's why there's been a little bit of a shift, not a shift in, overall, just in the approach. And I think that was a good discussion we had and makes sense. And then legislative, what our plan is to watch and review this next legislative session, just watch and see how the different legislators, what's being presented, what's not. In fact, there was a little bit of a conversation with the Seattle Parks Foundation about legislation. So that's something that they were discussing too. But an eye just to watch and see how it goes with an eye towards next September. That's when a lot of the lobbying and the conversations happen. So 2026. We have tenured and helpful legislators in our district. Senator Bob Hasagawa has been there a long time, and he's got some key appointments, as well as Representative Steve Berquist. So it's going to be helpful for us to spend a year just really being thoughtful. So when we do the ask, once again, we'll have collateral done. So we're going to be better positioned next September for that. So that's why that was intentionally deferred, and it makes sense. So I know it's a longer report. I just wanted to just make sure everyone knew what was coming up, like I said, what's coming up at our next September, the 24th meeting. 23rd, thank you.
It's the 23rd.
Yeah, September, Tuesday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. So is there any questions for the FSSC committee? Seeing none. We will move on to business item number. Sorry, Brad, did you have anything else to say?
No, that was great. Appreciate your wrap up on that.
All right, and this is the strategic goals. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking background because we come from. I'm gonna talk more about the documents that are provided to you. And the first document is the clean copy of what came out of our last board meeting, our August board meeting. And then it was the red line copy for. That was done for our August board meeting. And these changes were made. It was then taken to TPAC that Saturday. And there are some TPAC recommendations. And the summary of those TPAC recommendations, it was to move the emergency action plan to staff and culture, goal number 1, third and eighth grade program to goal number 1, at therapeutic and aquatic goal, and request that goal number 1. So those were the TPAC recommendations from their August meeting from August 16th. And then the staff programming and extracurricular came back and looked at TPAC's goals. Recommendations and came with their 3 new programming goals, which were higher level, and it includes a programming specific emergency procedure and new goal number 1 for culture, which is a broader action plan. So I believe, so where we're at now is I want to see how people are doing the strategic goals.
In what sense, Vanessa?
So-
Are you looking for,
What would people like to see in a fund balance? Is it meeting the needs? Or are there, for example, are there things in TPAC you would like to see into the clean pot? Are there things that from the programming recommendations be incorporated into the plan?
So Vanessa, the TPAC suggested changes right here where it says programming recommendations
TPAC is, yeah.
after programming.
Yeah,
Okay.
it probably, sorry, that's my fault, that probably should be first, because TPAC is first,
Okay,
and then the programs were in response to TPAC, because TPAC said, see, I want, programming. Programming recommendations was the response to that, those recommendations.
So to be clear, I'm wondering, because it is kind of confusing with all the different documents.
Yeah.
That what we're looking at, the suggested amendment for consideration review 8/22/2025 program rules. This is what we're looking to incorporate into the draft.
This, yeah, that's, so
So the draft is still what we looked at last,
the draft is
and there's a red line.
yeah, the draft incorporates the feedback from last meeting.
but not anything from TPAC or programming's responses.
Yeah, I didn't
So
see,
there's no final draft in here.
no, because I didn't feel it, I wanted to listen to the board to see what they wanted to incorporate rather than introduce another red line.
Okay.
I was a little confused, sorry. And so I've got some suggestions that actually are on what we did last time. And I didn't double check, see TPAC or,
Okay.
so on finance goal 1. I think it's important somewhere in one of the years to talk about legacy donations. And just mention it, because I think we need to have a plan for that.
And that goal 1, right?
Well, yeah, because it's structure, fundraising strategy. Legacy would be fundraising
Yeah.
strategy. It's another, branch of fundraising.
So like goal 1.2 launches sponsorship and donation program targeting local business and civics groups, including legacy donation, including
Yeah, that's
something
fine.
like that.
I just would like it
To be called out.
yeah,
Legacy donation opportunities.
yeah. I mean, most organizations have something, for people that live there,
Not just businesses and civic groups.
No.
Yeah, that's,
individuals, And then on goal 3. Yeah. I would recommend that instead of using the word software, that we replace it with technology. Because as you know, I'm quite the expert at AI, and I'm kind of thinking that AI could address some of this versus software, which tends to be prepackaged kind of thing. So technology would incorporate software if that's what we do, but it would also incorporate AI.
So each place you see software. Like
I would replace it with technology.
3.3, I have no issue with it. Does anyone else have any issue with that?
Great suggestion.
Okay, I think it's a great, Jerry, do you have any issue with that? Using technology and word technology instead of software?
No. How does it read right though, the 3.1, where you change it to say recording technology instead of software? Recording technology, is that actually something that,
So identify and implement,
instead of recording
Technology.
software, so I understand, but
Yeah,
the verbiage doesn't.
Yeah.
so identify and implement technology for financial forecasting and reporting that can integrate and merge data.
Yes.
And, but this, 3.2, train finance staff and integrate technology. into
Right.
it. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
The other one doesn't have it, so is everyone else okay?
Well, actually, I guess for, I have no idea because I can't read my writing. I think under 3.1, I wrote, identify and implement financial forecasting and reporting, applications. Which would, but technology is fine, I don't care.
So, yeah, because so the goal is to utilize technology, so it's working. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Because who knows what applications is gonna be like a moot point at some
I
time.
know, exactly.
Right, great. So do you have anyone else? That's a great way to do it. Thank you. Like, let's just look at the clean copy. Is there anything in the clean people would like to discuss?
In the clean, I'm sorry,
The
is that the one from the board?
the board meeting.
Yeah, the one from 811.
Is not what we looked at the board meeting?
This is different. This was updated, like the vision and development goals to the beginning. And there were some emergency action and really because I know that, Andrew, do you have anything that
No cost.
you know, we'll talk about incorporating the feedback next. So, Steve, I'm just gonna keep, because Carolyn, do you have anything additional? So chief recommendations was to move the EAP to staffing culture #1. And that was establish and implement an emergency action plan and parent guardian supervisory policies. But programming, I say, if you can help me with this, that the programming department suggested retaining it in programming because it was programming specific. So TPAC suggested moving it to staffing and programming, Anastasia and Brad worked together to create programming goal #2, enhance safety and preparedness by developing clear emergency procedures and strengthening supervision practices across new programs.
So you still have goal 1 under staffing and culture goals under what program
We
it is?
kept the 1 because there was the desire to move it from TPAC. but we created a new one for programming specific to the
Oh.
needs and the nuances of what we're struggling with in the program department. So we refined what TPAC asked us to move, but we adopted something else for programming along the same lines, but specific to the programming.
Right, so just to be really clear, programming goal 2 is then staffing for goal 1, that program that the staff has presented. The 1 is a broader EAP plan for everyone, and the programming goal 2 is specific for programs.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Makes
fine.
sense.
It was interesting because Anastasia and I, when we were going through goal 2, the new goal 2 for programming, we both agreed this is something we continuously talk about within our operation, which is why we felt it critical that the program goals add this goal 2 around safety and awareness around youth programs.
So it looks like the next, so TPAC recommended moving 3rd and 8th grade program to goal 1. I'm guessing that would be under programming goals, but what you just, so what you got, what Pool recommended is goal 1, expand aquatic program offerings to provide inclusive and diverse opportunities for community members of all ages. So it doesn't specifically call out
Mhm.
It was
3rd and 8th, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
we want to keep it more general, so that we're not overcommitting to anything, but also encompassing other things that we've discussed.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you all?
Well, yeah, because you might decide that, 3 and 8, they're kind of random. You could decide kindergarten, who knows?
That you like, just doesn't.
Right, yeah, so, yeah, it would be more flexible. Add a therapeutic aquatic goal. Where did TPAC want that?
Well, they just, to add one,
Oh,
add a expand, so that there was expand for therapeutic aquatics through healthcare partnerships, and that got addressed on a broader one. So where
okay, okay.
water safety education to wellness, therapeutic recreation and competitive trainings. And it's 1.3 specifically expand our support for various aquatic movement programs, which can be therapeutic. Is that therapeutic? Not really. It's not water exercise.
What's that?
Hold on. So program goal 1.3 intended to be. I know the broader goal talks about their education to wellness, therapeutic recreation and competitive training. So
Is that 1.3 under
Yeah.
the new goal 1? Yeah, various aquatic movement programs. We just decided to be
Really broad.
exactly, because we don't know what that, is that paddleboarding in the deep
but
end?
could it encompass therapeutic?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to-
Movement-based programs. We can work with therapy providers, we can offer our own adaptive programming, so on and so forth. So I think it just allows us to kind of accommodate.
It's like the 4 bullet points that TPAC recommendations were all addressed. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Collaborative.
Well, feedback was critical, and I think the most critical point of the feedback came out of the big TPAC discussions. And I think I heard it very clearly at that discussion that there was this need more broad as opposed to be very specific. And I think that direction allowed us to go back to the drawing table. So thank you all for being open to that.
Well, thank you, and you guys for
Yeah.
addressing that, because I know it's hard, this is, this process. The only question I have is, I know we had a bit of a conversation about safety being prioritized to the top of each category, and whether or not we would want goal 2 to be goal 1, or maybe if you guys can provide some insight there, whether. So I know we had a discussion so I just want to be consistent.
Full transparency, you will not hurt my feelings in any order. If it means that we're focusing on safety in each category, making the EAPs goal 1. So you're talking about moving goal 2 to goal 1. Is that my?
Yeah, I think we had that conversation last month, and that's why the staff culture goals became like became goal one.
I think
because
that's
that-
No.
How about, Andrew, how do you feel about?
I just remember I was originally, I wanted the current goal one, be goal one, but then there was pushback to say goal 2 should be. And so. Being without safety or preparedness, there's no point to having. As, if you have kids tripping in the water and hurting themselves, or the elderly hurting themselves, what's the point?
Right.
So I think safety should be. Goal 1, but.
No, that's really helpful.
I agree.
Sure.
Well, I had to go back to the original because
Yeah.
if you look at just the pages that we're looking at, it seems like there's only really a couple of goals. But we have vision and development, which the goal 1 is anticipate and plan for community growth and needs. So I guess for me, when I looked at what programming said, although I know that, I think that it's really important that safety, I mean that, the goal number 1 be under safety or, is it staffing and culture? I don't have, for some reason, I thought that the way that programming had it, and again, it'd be fine if we switched it, but it just, programming addresses the programming. And when you say programming, you're talking about programming. And clearly, Andrew's right, you can't have programming if kids are tripping in the pool, but we address safety in another part where it's very, very explicit. And safety in the programming goals is still very important, but it's just been moved to goal number 2 because programming is more important.
Yeah, so like facility maintenance goals, that I know is as well as staff and culture. Moved up to, just, so I'm just looking for consistency. It wouldn't be the end of your world.
No.
I got that door.
It wouldn't be. I do care because.
No, it's just that it's not.
No, I'm not gonna die on that hill. I don't know what, the operations thinks of it, but, because clearly, if you're talking about programming, it seems like you're talking about programming, which, yes, you have to be safe in programming. But, underneath all of these is the foundation of our mission and vision, which talks about safety. And in the updated version from TPAC and then from the operation, I thought they did a great job of addressing and making safety very important in that, in that section, and then adding safety to programming too. So I actually thought they did a better job of covering it than, but again, I'm not gonna die on that hill.
Yes.
But I feel like I made a good argument and I should still win.
So,
What is?
Yeah.
Maybe safety.
Well, as I guess it was my bad, I should have flipped them. The nuances involved around programming, as Brad mentioned, it's not just like EAP, it's parental supervision, it's parental water safety, it's all those little things that I don't think you can have a effective program without the effective foundation, and that effective foundation is safety. So, if it were me writing this today, again, I should have moved it to the top versus having them flipped, just to establish foundation of safety across all of our programs. Again, it covers youth, it covers parents, it covers safe sport, it covers so many things that like our lifeguard staff don't necessarily have to go through, front desk staff, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that moving that safety goal first would be, to echo what everyone else is saying, would be most important.
No.
no, and it's not your bad, Anastasia, it's your good. you've got it in here. That's the most important thing. I appreciate the thoughtfulness on the responses to all this.
Okay, but if, and again, maybe I'm just really confused. So under programming recommendations, that would be the response to TPAC.
Yeah.
Goal 2, I'm hearing Anastasia say goal 2, she feels like it should be goal 1, which is what we're discussing. But, you know, I mean, Anastasia, you mentioned like parental supervision and all that, but goal 2 here is kind of small. It's like enhance safety and preparedness by developing clear emergency procedures and strengthening supervision practices across youth programs, which when I read that, it sounds like you're talking to the staff. And maybe I'm reading it wrong because clearly it's under program guides and not staffing and culture. But, you know, I'm not necessarily hearing the nuance of, you know, including, you know, like community-based safety programs or, you know, swimming community-based or something like that, which would entail more, you know, parents and everything.
So, yeah, because 2.2, develop policy procedures to enhance program safety by establishing clear guidelines for parental supervision and operation protocol. Really, because supervision, but then also the third one, to identify youth safety, abuse prevention training opportunities for staff. And that's like for safe sport. I'm always gonna hear that, starting to implement those kind of things. Very program based.
Yeah, I think the generalization that Brad and I worked on for some of these goals kind of helps keep it at that high level perspective where should we choose to pivot, right? That's why safe sport isn't specifically listed. We could be another program. And I think in addition to clear guidelines for parental supervision, it's not just staff, you know, front desk staff being like, where's your mom and dad? It's more parents need to be accountable to their kids being in the water. And I think that it just falls under that bigger picture perspective. So I think from the more general goal 2, I think that's why it's very vague. And then you start to see the initiatives underneath it start to paint that
But do you
picture.
think that 2.1, the 2-year objective, which calls out programming staff, it doesn't call out anybody but programming staff. I'm wondering if my issue could be resolved by under goal 2, where it says strengthening supervision. I would change the word supervision to supervisory practices across, and then I don't know that I just necessarily say youth, I'd say across all programs.
Yeah.
Enhancing how we.
Because supervisory can refer to parents,
It could
but
also be like adult adaptive programs, right?
Yeah, I think it could be more, yeah, you're right. It could be more general because it's not just youth that need supervision at all times as well. It's those that may need additional needs or additional resources. So and how we manage our software and things that we do in our software could fall under that as well. So,
I should have. Just a context.
and then this supervisory practices, I do like that as well. Yeah.
Are other commissioners in agreement with that supervisory practices across programs?
All
Across all programs, thank you. Or just keep.
programs isn't just. Parental groups you have,
right.
Thank you.
so it's all. Association. So on and so on.
And our pool rentals and birthday parties and stuff like that. So, should-
Sure. So, what I'm hearing is, and I just want to make sure everyone gets a chance to weigh in. That the recommendations from programming with the addition of the word supervisory and all programs and goal 2 becoming goal 1 And then the staff and culture, everything else as presented. Would be added to the strategic goals. Does anyone have any issues to me about or any other recommendations?
Sorry, so this attitude's already there, this whole section should be in place.
Yeah, it would be replaced.
Yeah.
Static culture would be, static culture's work is substantially similar. Programming would be replaced static culture, so these 2 pages would be inserted into the thing copy. And then obviously I did not do an update for this, that can be done afterwards, because it takes quite a long time to do, and I didn't want to do it multiple times. As fun as it is. You know, less of the document. You know, the document's a document, this is just an addition to the document. So that can be passed without just knowing that that will be up there. They would have any additional suggestions? Motions?
Yes, let's accept what we just did.
We needed to make it correct to the finance area.
To the, thank you, Jerry, yes, the finance and, so.
Including the donation opportunities and changing the software, the technology.
So
technology.
updates to goal 1, 2, 3.1 and 3.2.
Right, and a lot of programs.
And the programming recommendations. With the word supervisor and all programs and goal, because goal 2 becomes goal 1. So, Anastasia, how would you like that written? A motion to approve.
Which changes?
They were just mentioned.
Yes, that just.
Strategic. Let me just write it down. I just want to make it easier to run scissors.
Thank you.
With dates to finance 1.2, 3.1, 3.2. And let's just make it easier. And programming goal 1, 2, 3 and staffing. Or it's actually,
Yeah, it's just.
just let me just say, approve strategic goals with updates to finance, and date to include program recommendations, including moving to the goal 1. Process to approve strategic goals with updates to finance 1.232 and update to include programming recommendation, including moving goal 2 to goal 1 and updates to goal 2 language.
Got it.
Does that sound? Yeah.
So moved.
We got it.
Got it.
Yep, the recording will also be up.
7:08 PM, we'll just watch that.
Yeah.
I did.
Is there a second?
You were trying to last in a second, sorry.
Is there any discussion, which we actually already had? Just any further discussion? And I just want to note, as you know, it doesn't need to be in the motion, but so the added vision, mission, alignment. Okay. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, everyone, for all. Plus. Okay. You speak. Stand with the.
No rush.
Perfect. So moving on to business item number 2. TSD lease amendment to do with parking. The one that's included, and I'm not gonna go, I think all of us know the history background, it's been back and forth. Thank you to Jerry and Brad for showing up at meetings and TSD meetings and, this is what was approved by the TSD board on their August 26th. Yeah. August 26th. Brad, do you want to talk about, like, I mean, it's. You feel that this is workable from the TPM's point of view as far as utilizing the technology center when it will.
Yes, in short, in our current business practice and what we're looking for to facilitate overflow for key events and or high capacity days in today's business model. No concerns, the additional system work. TSD.
I'm curious, because I'm just, this weekend, we didn't know, and I mean, I don't believe, I didn't say that the service center was open for parking, because we wouldn't have known, I mean, we didn't. So so I guess I have a couple questions. So, I mean, because I know that this is important, but in a sense, isn't it kind of also moving?
Well, no, it directs our operations for the next several years while we're still open in our current location. So it helps mitigate that in the short term.
Okay, so in that case, and I know we haven't passed it yet, so it's probably not fair, but I mean, seriously, why couldn't we have known about what was going on Saturday and that, that it was so crazy? I mean, I don't know how we can, help the school district, help us get that information, because it just seems so frustrating. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I
People,
mean, 1.2.2 actually does address that. Should attendance and parking demand at Foster High School be estimated to exceed 50% capacity, school district shall notify TPMPD. And I know what you're gonna say, but how can we take ownership of it? So,
well,
Can I jump in?
yeah, please.
So we do, look. On a day-to-day basis, we're not looking at the calendar. We're not logging in every single day going, what is going on in the school district throughout our general.
Yeah.
Right? And so this team in the district as a whole, we've been so focused on. Right, our biggest.
yes, right. We want them
Introduction
to
to
be
the
perfect.
business. So when we start approaching events, we then start to look at the facility calendars, because that's what we've been focused on. In fairness, the ops team isn't looking at every single weekend going, hey, how is this gonna impact our general business? It just hasn't been our practice, even though we have access to the system. And then we do forward, so Gabe does a phenomenal job and provides us the rental list, which I forward to the operations team, in addition to the managers, including myself, have access to facility viewer.
So Brad, if you look at facility, did they have something about this event? And we just didn't look at it because it wasn't an event weekend? My
Yeah, that's a
concern
great
is that, I don't know, because my concern is that, that somehow that information isn't getting on facility dude. So it doesn't matter if you look at it, because there's not going to be any information, in which case we need to help the district supply that information.
Yeah, so, like I said, there is provision in this lease amendment for us to have a stronger position about, hey, this was going on, we see this coming up, to help them fulfill their obligation, and it's a conversation.
Well, and I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, let's say this was in effect, and let's say that they didn't put anything in facility due, then it would be, we'd always be chasing them after the fact because we wouldn't even know that we needed the parking because we all. we looked.
I will like to add though that, to that point being that, like for the last event we had, I was anticipating full parking lot, like based on what I saw in the event manager, facility dude or event dude, whatever. They said it was like a high capacity event and then it was like, I don't know, like 30 cars in the parking lot. And so it's like, it's hard. So like we rushed around, we anticipated all this, which is better than not doing anything about it. But things like, like their pep games or pep rallies, like
They had one
we,
on Friday.
yeah, it's like, so it's like, then you're like 7 PM is like, what time do you start opening? I don't even know. I guess it'd be like 4 PM you'd start opening, depending on what you're anticipating happening in the facility. I don't know. Sometimes they don't always hit the mark on what the attendance looks like, and Gabe wouldn't know either until the day of, most likely, but sometimes they do know.
The benefit is that now we would have access, we would have a key
Yeah,
to another physical, another parking spot. That if this happened and we, this, like, it wasn't really well. In whatever.
Right.
That at least we have a mechanism whereby we can open up some parking for us, for our patrons. Albeit it's a, it's a little walk, but. it's-
Yeah, but I mean, like, how many of the patrons are gonna come and be like, get out of the car, leave it not parked, run up and go, hey, there's no parking, You're like, oh, actually, by the way, there's parking. Like, how are we gonna even like address that issue?
we have, I mean, if we know it's a full parking lot, and let's say we didn't get any warning or anything, it's this, it's like last weekend. I mean, I think that the staff could, if we got some of those feather things and, had a staff person out there like we've done before, going, hey, there's parking right at the service center, and the feather thing would be Tukwila Pool parking only or something, and.
Which you have. For the identification. In short, Ellen, to answer your first question, yes, on their calendar, they have the event posted or listed.
Oh, they did.
High capacity event.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
It is a football, but they also have basketball.
Yeah.
Listed at multiple events. Sharing, and so just the football, the anticipated event size is medium event, which is classified between 100 299. And then again, I don't know how that's what's in the system.
Okay,
So yeah, so in theory, knowing that this day, we would pre-plan when providing a key to have the service center Thursday or Friday, email the community if nothing changes to say, if you're planning on attending pool programs, please note that there is additional service center pre-drop map.
right.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
like,
the
just so they
morning, absolutely, the morning team can run over, do their pre-inspection, put up the flags, they don't need to open the gate until parking becomes an issue.
Right.
And send a team member over, to facilitate opening and managing that.
I
Because
mean,
that's the critical component that we have to remember, it's, you can open the gates, once they're open, if there's not an attendant, essentially, tenure. People are gonna see that as their open. So it's just adequate, you just need that adequate staff in the short term until we figure out.
yeah, until we get a better idea of what this looks like and.
My question is, so for those that were in the area for this event, as an example, based on what we're discussing, was this parking, let's see.
Di did not tell me about this parking.
See, I'm
so-
always curious about.
You know,
When I drove by, I don't believe this one was utilized.
Yeah, I don't.
What's the game using it? Say it was using Sunday. Back when they were
Here,
this one?
this one.
Oh,
Yeah, when I drove by, it wasn't. Got it.
But there might have also been something happening at the field here, so I can ask,
It's the ball might have been, it's the ball here at the middle school gym and it's the ball at the high school gym.
Well, there
And there was also the church thing
football.
on Sunday.
was high school cheer practice and basketball tryouts and then RSB events. So technically 4 events happening on the same day at different facilities.
yeah, but that is a good question, I mean, yeah.
So, once again, it's not, not the perfect world. It says something.
So,
Right, okay.
yeah.
Honestly, I mean, like, to me too, like. Whenever I see these sort of things, I just think that like, it's, you know, it's a problem that affects us, but if I just continue like, oh my gosh, like, this is a problem like for the school district, even for them renting out the facilities. Like, it's, you know, that they don't have enough parking for the people that are coming to use their rental lives.
But I don't know.
And at what
I
point?
don't think the pain point for the school district, even though if I was attending the facilities and I couldn't find parking, it'd be a pain point for me.
Yeah.
But I think the school district, I mean, they're happy to get the revenue. Now, it would be a pain point if it was like Foster High School football game and people couldn't get parking. That would be a problem that they would, I don't know how they'd address it. Cause I mean, they've had the EAT, if you've ever been by, and that's just been a nightmare. People are parking on 42nd and 144th. I mean, they're just, parking wherever. Did you have something to ask?
Sorry.
She was asking about towing services, who's responsible for towing services and
Oh,
their events versus our events.
so,
Well, cause like people parked in the emergency
they were
sections.
all over.
And so when I saw that,
On.
yeah, the yellow curb.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Well, the yellow curb, like the.
Yeah.
But in short, we're not responsible for the majority of the parking that takes place in the sheriff lot during high capacity events. Because it's hard to know who's pool patrons and who's a spectator or participant. And so that was part of the discussion in our school district meetings is we understand that. But we are responsible should somebody leave their car overnight, whether it's our participant or somebody parked there from the basketball event. And if we are done and we close the gates in the car, they're gonna need to either leave it or we do keep tow services on contract or they.
School district's procedure, policy, what they do is if someone's got the car and, at the service center, they close the gates and that car is there.
Sure.
That's a school district.
Correct. That is not our recommendation because if Brad decides he wants his car and damages school district property to get out. The
Yeah.
TPMPD is responsible for the damage to the school district facilities. And so it is advantageous for us to have that car towed, so there is no fault. So when we close up at the end of the night and we do our inspection before we lock that gate that indicates we're in good standings, we're not responsible for damage once we confirm the parking lot is cleared and the gate is closed. So it's gonna just be it's a fine line, right? It's how we wanna manage it, and yes, tow services will be critical, just so people know. We can remind folks, and if we're good, we can tell someone to make an announcement at the basketball event to say, if you have a car parked at the service center, we're closing in 40 minutes. And so go move your car if it is not a pool patron. I think if a pool patron parks in the parking, they should be given a tag, especially if, I think we create little hangers. And that way it indicates we know those are our pool patrons, because our lot attendant can quickly just mark.
Right, yeah, that's a great idea.
Ones Parked in the front areas, like, so you know who's who.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've got we'll work out some internal procedures, but I do go back in the short term, I think, to immediately address our need to not turn folks away from our special events to where parking doesn't become the detractor from participating. I think this really does address that. I think from our day-to-day operation, now that the school district is in session and we are going to be sharing those evening rentals and those evening sporting events and our general operation. Yeah, I think there's gonna be some pain points, but I think it made it very clear. It's not exclusive to events, it's exclusive to the fact that if we are reaching over 50% capacity, we have access. And so swim lesson families may be able to walk over, park there. My only concern is just lighting from that walk. Figure all that out.
And start operating valet service.
Yes,
Little
a
golf cart.
revenue generator.
Little golf cart. 6-seater golf.
We should have the duck.
We could.
What?
Voices got.
Well,
The duck.
they can have the
But we
duck,
could
they
have
don't
the
have the
duck.
duck mobile.
We could have the duck mobile.
In a horrible lawsuit.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think that there's probably enough liability of having, any sort of shuttle service to have that as a shuttle service.
That would be a problem.
But I mean, the ducks, although I know that there was a horrible incident here in Seattle. I mean, we've had the ducks in Wisconsin at the Wisconsin
More
Dells for
incidents.
decades.
In Wisconsin
I
too,
love
where
them.
people drowned. But it's safe.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
That is not in the agreement.
It does not say who will provide them, so, I'm looking for a motion, we can discuss more, but I am looking for a motion.
Oh, so that I make a motion that we approve the resolution or
For
whatever,
TSD lease.
yes. The lease agreement.
Commissioner Saul, second.
Okay, so any further discussion and conversation? Yes. Jerry, do you have anything you'd like to add? I know you've been at most of the meetings.
I think they've covered it pretty well. I'm just happy to get it to this point.
Years later.
Painful.
Andrew, do you have anything?
No.
Aaron?
No, I'm with Jerry and like, like I said, I mean. I think there's enough vagueness in it. The district will need to have two gate keys. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff that I like about it. Yeah, if they're happy with this. Yeah, let's do it. It's approved and ready.
Yes,
Let's go.
Brad?
No, I was just gonna, I think it's it's a positive step in working through a collective. I think this is a first opportunity to really establish and prevent what that partnership looks like now and in the future. And I really do appreciate the school district, regardless of the timeline, coming to the table and getting to this point. Because we're a community-based organization, we're an educational organization. Appreciate the collaboration now, and moving forward.
And I like that, I really appreciate that we were all able to come together to an agreement for it, you know, without stalemates and standoffs. So
Yeah.
that was, I think it is very important moving forward with our future, that they can see that this is a partnership that's listening towards. There's no further discussion. I will.
do we have to vote?
All those in TSD lease amendment,
Aye.
Alright,
all those against? Yay. Thank you, everyone.
I thought Aaron had it.
Sorry, you had a question?
well, we're done now.
Oh, sorry.
No.
It's done.
You can have heard Vanessa by not sharing your question.
Okay, what's your question?
Well, just that the authorized use only park lots are available solely for the scheduled approved events and or activities.
So can you help me?
These are the procedures.
So which one?
Which I guess that doesn't necessarily.
Park lots available to me. So this is kind of important. These procedures and process are intended to be for anyone
Right.
and all uses,
I
so
guess-
not just for us.
Mine, oh, I got you. Mine, I guess, for that is just like literally discussions had about like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people here and we're having Saturday with a swim and we're like, we need to open up the deck. Time for us to prepare.
Yeah, so we actually, a little bit of conversation, and so this is more consistent with what they give to their renters too. Anyone who uses TSD parking, this is supposed to be consistent. Well, I know it doesn't really look, you know, so it'll be interesting, but that's why they added the process and procedures, and it kind of sounded like they had to develop some.
Yeah, which I could like wanted to see, so I'm not sure.
Yes.
So I would, I'll just reread them like, oh.
All right, moving on to reports. So my report, I was mostly FCC focused. The only additional thing was the city of Tukwila meeting that I referred to earlier. It was a Zoom meeting. Jerry, Commissioner Angela Anderson and Frank were there. Also, we provided a grant deed to them. We discussed their Seattle Parks Foundation experience, and they actually did share that they were maybe going to be using them for a capital campaign regarding their new community center, but I mean, that's a longer term thing. then we're looking at, very, very positive about SPF, say that not the Tuckwell. Pete Mayer has had experience outside of Tuckwell, and we talked about collaboration of both entities, like providing wellness video content. End of my report.
I don't have a report, except for I do want to report that, Diane and I are planning to attend with Vanessa the Des Moines anniversary, and I know you're gonna go to it too. So they've been so great.
Yeah,
I know Gene will be there, even though he's not on the board, so.
that's great. I look forward to seeing you there.
Who's next? Oh, Andrew.
Briefly, in King County.
Oh, how about that? Was it playful?
And yesterday.
See, yesterday or Saturday, I don't.
It was memorable.
My weekend was
A blur.
but it was okay. There was two different water safety things. One had a lot to be desired, one was interesting.
Were they both provided by the Y, or were there two separate entities?
One was YMCA, one was King County.
Which did you like better?
King County.
Really? Could you share what those experiences were?
They just had more information. When I went to the line table, they were just like, hey,
Don't
do
drown.
you need anything?
So they didn't have life jacket fittings?
Where was this?
At the community center.
At Tukwila Community Center? Huh.
Yeah.
Seems so. Other experiences there?
There was
Have fun doing some stuff?
the kids.
Were the kids using the water park or not?
No,
Cause it was too cold.
it was too cold that day, but there was a lot of stuff to do. It was really interesting.
The farmer's market? Or was it over by then?
Hold up.
Seems like a lot of stuff going on.
It was also one there.
Yeah.
I will,
It wasn't that bad, actually.
I will say, I will interject based on his experience at Play Day in quarterly meeting. There was a comment made during the quarterly meeting, this actually came. And then I believe at some point, it was also shared that it was a little disappointing that we're not using our local resources in our own backyard. And I think I followed up with, I do understand that this is a King County event, but maybe there needs to be some intentional reach out to King County, whoever organized this, to say, why aren't we utilizing the local resources to put on play days in the backyards?
Especially because King County is giving us $5 million.
That's my point. That's,
City of Tukwila was also clear on saying it wasn't just a King County event, it was us in partnership. So there was an opportunity for what we could see
Absolutely.
that they certainly could have rejected. Like,
Well, I mean, like, it seems like, it's like even for King County, it's like, whoever is running that department for that should be looking, yeah, to all the local ones, whether it is like the local pools here in Tukwila, local pool that's in Seattle, or Renton or wherever, that they have their local pools there to provide information for some residents that are local to the people that are going.
Water
to
safety,
even
life-saving
events.
Andrew, did they take advantage of it being a play day in King County? Did they have like anybody from the trapeze place there or iFly? I mean, clearly they couldn't have trampolines and stuff. But it seems like that would be also, it's focused in Tukwila. I don't
I
know.
don't think it seemed to be, I think it seemed more regional.
It was more regional, because it's not actually ran by King County, it's King County Equity Coalition.
Oh.
It was interesting to go to.
Thank you for.
Yeah, for go.
Kids were kids.
Yeah. All right, is there anything else? Thank you. Commissioner. No work. Commissioner Shipman.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is that a question?
Is it to the pool? The pool's gonna look very clean.
That's a great report.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that
I
you've
didn't
been
see when
going.
it was cloudy, so I don't know, but
I took a
it
picture.
definitely got cleaned up. Like, it's like, to be able to go in like 2 days later and it's like,
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear, not a problem. Although I do think I did notice it getting a little bit cloudy the day before.
It was, because I walked the pool. In the mornings, I typically try to make a lap around the pool, and it was leading up to this. It's like, I think I pulled you aside, it's like, it's so water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? And there was a noticeable shift. So we did some balancing and chem testing and tried to figure some things out. But again, we also know that our pump does meet requirements and is doing its job, but we also know that it's on the verge of a replacement. And so water, but then it started working all of a sudden because the water is crystal clear.
So do you think it was mostly just due to the pump's flow?
No, not at all.
Was it chemical?
Our. I don't know, Brad can tell you later. No, it was chems. So initially we identified the cloudiness. It was happening for a couple of days. And then our chems, like our alkalinity was low, our calcium, everything was on the low side. So,
Thin range, but lower than.
yeah. Lower than the ideals, or sorry, lower than the ideal scale. So it's just on the minimum side. So we threw in a ton of bicarb, which helps raise the alkalinity. So I think for the pump had an opportunity to fully start working and circulating. The bicarb made its way through the pool. And so I think that contributed to that shift in qualities.
I can taste it too.
Yeah. Is it good?
Sodium bicarbonate.
Tastes like bad cookies.
Our pump just wasn't efficient for some reason after filtration plants. We weren't able to maintain the flow rates we're typically used to maintain. They immediately if we do a filtration clean today, for example, in a perfect world, we're able to pull 700 and some gallons a minute for the first couple of days. That lasts really well, things are flowing, it's 100% clean filters. And then it levels out in the high sixes, mid sixes for a good week to a week and a half. Lately, our filtration cleans pumps been running at the low sixes, which is, again, it's all within King County requirements, but still, we weren't pulling what we typically are used to pulling. And so it's a combination of VFD drive, which is the digital control of pump. It allows us to kind of maneuver some things with the pump and allows it to shut off or on by itself. It's a fail safe.
And that's a pump you're gonna replace, right?
Correct. So we're replacing pump 5. So between our main brain of the pool and low side on some of our desired ranges, I think we had some water issues. Nothing outside of the ranges that were shutting it down.
Yeah, just more concerning and visual to be asked.
Yeah.
Now today, crystal clear water. I thought I was gonna drink a glass of water or.
It looks like
Interesting.
under it, like it looks so cool. I guess that,
Crystal clear, straight through.
Yeah, no, it was like, well, I looked small now.
Crystal clear. You can see it from here. Can you see all six? Can you see all 6 lanes?
Yes,
Can you see the corner?
I see it without.
Okay, just checking.
I
Yeah,
know.
okay.
We have coral reefs.
Ooh, that would-
Yeah,
We're talking about an experience in a new
I
facility.
know. I
I've
got
been
it.
thinking about it right after you showed me that.
I know, it was so cool.
Now, every time I walk into a store or a restaurant, I'm like,
you were the digressor
Oh my
of the
goodness.
meeting.
oh, sorry, my apologies. I'm not enjoying it. Oh my gosh.
Is there anyone who have miscellaneous? Okay, and we're not going into executive session tonight, so.
I would like to make a motion.
Okay. See, I always said it's me first. Who would you-
Commissioner Grandel, items seconds.
Is there any discussion on adjournment? Seeing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Opposed? Approved.
All right,
Please, recording.
recording.
Recording stopped.
Well,